Picture this scenario. It is 30 minutes past bedtime. You are absolutely exhausted. You are ready to collapse on the couch and stare at the wall in silence. But your toddler is currently doing laps around the living room furniture, screaming with what looks like pure joy, or maybe having a total meltdown because you gave them the blue cup instead of the red one. You look at them and think to yourself, there is no way this child is tired. Look at that energy. If I put them to bed now, they will never sleep. So, you wait. You let them play for another 30 minutes to burn off that energy. But when you finally get them into the crib or bed, it is a war zone. There is screaming, curtain climbing, asking for water, asking for a hug, asking to check the closet for monsters. Here's the truth that might shock you. That burst of energy, that second wind, that is not real energy. That is a chemical reaction. That is your child's body screaming for help because they have been awake too long. Welcome back to Healthy Child Habits. Today, we are deep diving into the bedtime battlefield. We are going to solve the mystery of overtiredness versus undertiredness, and I am going to give you the exact schedule shifts and routines you need to get your evenings back. If you have ever wondered why your exhausted child acts like they just drank a double espresso, stick around, we are fixing this today. Let's start with a relatable parent question I get all the time. Why does my toddler turn into a gymnast the second I say the word bedtime? The answer lies in biology. Sleep struggles in toddlers are almost always linked to two things: overtiredness or and knowing the difference is the secret weapon you have been missing. Research shows that when a toddler stays awake past their natural sleep window, their body does not just get sleepy, it panics. The brain assumes there must be a reason we are not sleeping. Maybe there is a bear in the cave, or we need to run away from danger. So, the body releases a cocktail of stress hormones, specifically cortisol and adrenaline. Here is an I never knew that insight for you. Cortisol and adrenaline are chemically very similar to caffeine. When your toddler gets that pre-bedtime zoomies rush, they are literally high on their own stress hormones. They are wired, but they are also exhausted. This is why they are clumsy, emotional, and resistant. They physically cannot calm down. This is what we call the cortisol spike. It overrides their natural sleep drive, masking the signs of fatigue that you would normally look for, like eye rubbing or yawning. Instead of slowing down, they speed up. So, how do you know if you are dealing with an overtired child? Let's look at the symptoms, because they are very specific. First, look for the pre-bedtime zoomies. If your child goes from calm to bouncing off the walls around dinner time, you have likely already missed the ideal sleep window. Second, look at the resistance style. An overtired toddler is frantic. They are crying, clinging, arching their back, or having a tantrum over tiny things. This is the cortisol talking. Third, and this is crucial, look at their sleep quality. Overtiredness does not end when eyes close. Because that cortisol is still coursing through their veins, overtired kids have frequent night wakings. They wake up at 2 a.m. screaming. Or, they have the dreaded early morning rising, waking up at 4:30 or 5 a.m. ready to start the day. It seems counterintuitive, right? You think, if they are so tired, shouldn't they sleep in? No, overtiredness causes light, fragmented sleep. If your toddler is taking short naps, I am talking 30 minutes and waking up cranky. That is also a sign of chronic overtiredness. They are so stressed they cannot connect their sleep cycles. So, to summarize, if you have zoomies, intense resistance, night wakings, and early mornings, you are likely dealing with an overtired child who needs an immediate schedule adjustment. Now, let's flip the coin. What about the undertired toddler? This is a different beast entirely. An undertired toddler is simply not sleepy enough. Maybe their nap was too long or it was too late in the day. Here is how you spot them. When you put an undertired toddler to bed, they usually do not scream or cry in distress. Instead, they lie there, they chat, they sing songs, they practice their ABCs. They might call out to you asking for water or asking where the cat is, but they aren't frantic. They are just bored. If your toddler takes an hour to fall asleep but is relatively happy while doing it, they are undertired. Their sleep pressure, which is the biological drive to sleep, has not built up enough. This often happens when parents try to force a schedule that worked 6 months ago. But toddlers grow, and their wake windows need to expand. If they are napping for 3 hours during the day and you put them to bed at 7, they physically might not be tired until 9. So, the distinction is clear. Overtired is wired and distressed. Undertired is bored and awake. Understanding this distinction prevents you from making the problem worse, because the solution for one is the exact opposite of the solution for the other. Now that we have diagnosed the problem, let's talk about the solution. And this is where we have to be brave, because the solution often sounds scary to parents. If you are dealing with overtiredness, you need to move bedtime earlier, much earlier. Here's another, I never knew that insight. Most toddlers need roughly 10 to 12 hours of night sleep, plus about 2 hours of day sleep. This is the 10-hour rule. If your toddler is waking up at 6:30 in the morning and napping from 12:30 to 2:30, they have been awake for a long time by the evening. Research suggests that for an overtired toddler showing those zoomy signs, an early bedtime between 6 and 6:30 can be a miracle cure. I know. You are thinking, if I put them to bed at 6, won't they wake up at 4 in the morning? Usually, no. Sleep begets sleep. By putting them down before the cortisol spike hits, they fall into a deeper, more restorative sleep and often sleep later in the morning. If you are seeing overtired signs, try shifting bedtime 20 to 30 minutes earlier every few days until the resistance stops. It requires a leap of faith, but give it 3 days. You will likely see the night wakings disappear and the morning wake-up time shift later. On the other hand, if you identified your child as undertired, the happy chatterbox, you need to do the opposite. You likely need to cap their nap. If they are napping for 3 hours, cut it to 2 hours. Or, you need to increase their wake window before bed. Push bedtime 15 minutes later and see if they fall asleep faster. The goal is to find that sweet spot where they are tired enough to sleep but not so tired that they are stressed. You are looking for a bedtime where they fall asleep within 15 to 20 minutes of hitting the mattress. Timing is 80% of the battle, but the other 20% is the routine itself. Even if the timing is perfect, if the routine is chaotic, you will still have struggles. Toddlers have massive FOMO, fear of missing out. They also struggle with separation anxiety. Going to sleep means separating from you, their favorite person. Your bedtime routine needs to be a bridge from the high energy of the day to the quiet of sleep. It needs to be consistent, predictable, and boring. A great routine looks like this: bath, 2, lower body temperature, pajamas, milk or water, teeth brushing, and then, this is key, connection time. Spend 10 minutes reading books or cuddling in the dark. This fills their love tank, so they feel safe separating from you. Here is another relatable parent question. My toddler keeps calling me back in for one last thing. Do I go in? If it is separation anxiety, they need reassurance. But you can do boring checks. Go in, say I love you, it is time to sleep, and leave. Do not turn on lights, do not start a conversation. Be a boring robot. The moment you engage in a negotiation about the color of the blanket or whether dragons eat tacos, you have stimulated their brain and woken them up again. Also, look at your nap timing. Research suggests moving naps about 20 minutes earlier can sometimes prevent that accumulation of overtiredness that explodes at bedtime. Distinguish between, I need you because I am scared and I am calling you because I want to play. If you have a solid routine and an age-appropriate wake window, the just fighting sleep behavior usually vanishes. One common mistake parents make is relying too heavily on screens right before bed. Blue light from tablets and TVs suppresses melatonin, the sleep hormone. So even if your timing is right, the iPad might be sabotaging you. Try to cut screens an hour before sleep. Replace that time with quiet play, puzzles, or reading. This helps the brain naturally wind down and prepare for the transition to sleep. To recap the framework we discussed today, first, observe the behavior. If your toddler is wild, crying, and waking up at night, they are likely over. The fix is an earlier bedtime, sometimes as early as 6 in the evening. If they are happy, chatting, and taking an hour to fall asleep, they are likely under-tiered. The fix is to cap the nap or push bedtime slightly later. Remember the 10-hour rule and ensure they have enough sleep pressure built up. Sleep is a puzzle, but it is one you can solve. You do not have to dread the evenings. It might take a week of consistency to see the changes, but once that cortisol cycle breaks, you will get your evenings back, and your child will be happier and better rested. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel reach more exhausted parents like us. And don't forget to subscribe to Healthy Child Habits for more evidence-based parenting tips. Let me know in the comments. Is your toddler a wild overtired or a chatty undertired? I would love to hear your stories. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all get some sleep tonight.